to my channel. I'm Dani Walker. Today's episode is the Miss Philippines Earth virtual pageant recap. If you're brand new, thank you for clicking on this episode. My name is Dani Walker. I'm a former title holder as well as a pageant coach, so I love sharing my thoughts and opinions in great pageant recaps. If you love this type of content, please be sure to subscribe. Also hit that notifications bell so you know when new episodes come out. And please follow me and let's connect on social media at Dani Walker. This is my first time watching a virtual pageant. I'm really excited that a lot of you requested this episode. I think it's going to be really fun. I have probably more questions about the show than answers, so please be sure to join in the conversation and leave your comments in the comment section below because some of you may actually have the answers to these questions. First, we'll talk about the intro and opening. Obviously, we didn't get an opening number because the pageant is virtual. I think that this pageant is going to be setting a standard for all other virtual pageants. Overall, I want to say great job to the production of this show because I know that there's so many unknowns and a lot of us were wondering what would a virtual pageant really look like. And I think for a first try, this was a really excellent pageant. I know a lot of people are being pretty critical of it, but if I had to be in charge of something like this, there's a lot of things that you just have to figure out as you go along. Nothing's going to be perfect, but I think that this could be the future of some pageants. So let's see what we can learn from this. Last year I was able to judge Miss Earth USA, so I have my perspective from that. This show was a little bit different from it in terms of the areas of competition, and I think that that sometimes happens when you have a franchise pageant and directors set up different things. So there were some areas of competition that were present at Earth USA that I didn't see in this show, which I think is okay. One thing that struck me though is that not only were contestants competing within the Philippines, but also Filipino communities. So we saw contestants that were actually living in the US or living in Australia in this show, and that's interesting to me. So I really wonder about the residency requirements for this pageant and what qualifies you to compete and represent the Philippines. So I thought that was kind of cool for maybe some of our USA contestants that are watching this pageant and you are of Filipino descent and you have that connection and you'd like to go and represent a country at Miss Earth or just at an international pageant. This could be a really, really great route for you. These are the areas of competition. They were interview, gown, sportswear, swim, talent, casual wear, and COVID craze, where the contestants designed these really funny little outfit things, and it just gave me a laugh. Contestants looking back at the pageant who didn't live through it are going to look and go, what in the world was that? But it was just sort of funny and just kind of something that only happens during this time. So I'm a little bit confused about the areas of competition. I believe that they were all required and that they all went towards the overall score that helped to determine the top 10, although I'm not sure or positive or if some of these things were just for special awards. So if you know more, please drop that in the comments below. Very curious about it. The first area of competition that they gave awards for was the fitness, form, and poise competition, so essentially swimsuit. And what I really liked about this is that we saw professionals from these industries judging this competition. So everybody that judged was in some way connected to the fitness industry. And I really like that, and I think that that's something that we can have at virtual pageants that you can't have at in-person pageants, which is a more diversified judging panel because everybody can meet from home and judge online. It's a lot easier to bring in more judges virtually. By the way, if you're a fan of Filipino pageantry and you're watching this, I do have some other episodes dedicated to some other incredible Filipino pageants, so be sure to check those out as well. The next area of competition was beauty of face, and they assigned a top 10. So this is an interesting component for the Miss Earth pageant. A lot of people don't realize at Miss Earth, contestants have two interviews. One is with makeup and one is without. So they really love naturally beautiful contestants. Next was intelligence and environmental awareness, and there was a top 10 awarded for this. But what struck me is that it was an all-male panel with the exception of the director of Miss South Africa Earth, who is a female. So I thought it was a little strange to see a primarily male panel. We just usually don't see that in pageants. I do think it does affect a judging panel because males are looking for different things than a lot of female judges are, or what former title holders are looking for. Interview obviously is a really important thing, and I like that because this was was digital, we got to see a few clips of the contestants in their interview. We got to see their interview outfits, and that's something we don't normally see. And a lot of contestants have a lot of questions about interview outfits. So since I'm a coach and I work with ages 4 and up, all the way through Mrs. Pageants, I work a lot with styling contestants and finding their perfect wardrobe. So I created a free interview style guide because I get so many questions about this, to sort of help you regardless of your age division or pageant system. And it's going to give you a head start. So it's going to tell you some of my favorite designers and brands and give you just some style inspiration for your next interview. So check that out. I'm going to link it in the description below. To be honest, just because this pageant isn't quite as visually interesting as a normal pageant that we would have in person, I skip right past the special awards. I obviously do miss the staging, I miss the in-person hosts, I miss the wardrobe changes, I miss just all of the performances. So that's something that maybe for future virtual pageants they can figure out a way of incorporating that back into the show. Please forgive me, I do not know how to pronounce everyone's name or their region, so let's just go with this. Our top 10 for the pageant were Roxanne, Eliza, Patricia, another Eliza, Chyna, Angeline, Shane, Justine, Ariel, and Gianna. Those were the ladies that were selected by the judges. Oh, and I want to give you a reminder, if you're watching on a mobile device, please be sure, screenshot this episode, post it to an Instagram story, and hashtag me and tag me at Dani Walker so I can see it. And I also want to know what your thoughts were on the show. Do you think that they picked the right queen, or did you have a different favorite? This is the part of the show that I was really excited about because I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do for the actual areas of competition? And I'm so confused about this because I don't know how much of this show was pre-recorded versus how much was actually coordinated in a live type of setting, which I feel like would have been very, very difficult to coordinate. I have worked behind the scenes in pageants. So I have worked for video streaming, I have been a videographer, I've done sound, lighting, sets, staging, I've worked in the dressing room, like you name it, I have been there in a pageant production, and there are so many moving parts. So add in the issue of technical difficulties and it's just a whole nother thing. So I'm really curious how they were able to overcome that and how they edited everything together so nicely, because I'm telling you guys, it's not easy to coordinate all of this stuff. So if you think that they did an awesome job, give this episode a thumbs up to let them know and just let them say, hey, we are so impressed with you, because I know that it's not easy to coordinate these things. I thought that the winner was pretty solid for Swimsuit. We're going to talk about her first because she went first. And I didn't love her swimsuit, didn't love the hairstyle so much, but still overall, she seemed to understand how to move her body and how to pose and how to work the right camera angles. And I really like that about her. Now, the other thing I'm going to say overall about this is I personally thought some of the contestants in the top 10 were just getting too sexy. These videos look like they were going to turn into an audition tape for something else, which we are just not going to say today. For the future of virtual pageants, ladies, please don't go so sexy. You really don't have to. So you got to be really careful with those facial expressions. Really, when you open your mouth, and then the movements and the hand positioning, and then some contestants sort of seem to dance, so I was really confused about that. And I thought that regardless of being beautiful or having a great figure, that it's still important to maintain that fun, easygoing vibe of Swimsuit. One contestant I want to talk about is Shane, and she competed for Binibining Pilipinas. I was so impressed, and honestly, I would not have been surprised if she was selected. I hope that she has an H out of everything and that maybe she can go and compete somewhere else, but I was super impressed by her performance and excited just to see that growth. That was really cool. Oh, the other thing I didn't get about Swimsuit was why wear the massive platform heels if you're not doing a pageant in person and there's not some big lineup? Why go through the trouble of that? So in the future for virtual pageants, if you don't have to wear the massive heels, don't wear them. They just make people stare at your feet. Next, they did a questions round, which I was not ready for. I was like, okay, we're gonna do some sort of on stage type question things. For this, I thought overall that everyone did pretty well. I thought that the winner was great. I love that she smiles while she speaks. She wasn't too rushed. She has great speaking abilities, and I think with even more work and more polishing before Miss Earth that she's gonna be fantastic. So I think the Philippines have another strong contestant for this next level. And overall though, you can really see the differences between contestants who are comfortable speaking on camera, contestants who have had experience public speaking, or those who practice their interviews a lot. So I would really urge everyone to just watch this pageant, see a little bit behind the scenes, kind of see how contestants are in interview, and see how you can look at the most beautiful girls and go, wow, she's beautiful, but some things can still use a little bit of work. I think this is a really great learning opportunity for everyone. So go check these out. I'll link this pageant in the description below as well. For gown, I was so surprised to see that these contestants went all out for evening gown. I know that it's the Philippines, but still, it actually was pretty competitive when it came down to gown. There were a few that I thought that weren't quite ready for the national level, but overall, really great. Roxanne, I love that she did this beautiful head turn, slow-mo, flip. Virtual pageants are really gonna take things to the next level. Girls are gonna be so competitive out there, getting videographers like crazy and people who know their stuff to make them look the absolute best. Also, the lighting really made a difference for each contestant too. So the ones that had great lighting, I think, stood out a little bit more. The ones that had professional hair and makeup stood out. So that was something really, really interesting to see. I wanna say that my favorites though were Roxanne. Really loved her. I loved Patricia, but I wish that she would have wore a lighter color. I thought it was just a little bit harsh on her. Maybe it would have come across a little bit different if it were on stage. My other favorites were Shane and Gianna during gown. I really wish Shane would have chosen a different color of gown though. I felt like it clashed a little bit with her hair, but other than that, she still looked stunning. One thing I think was tough was when they were doing the cuts for the pageant, so down to a top 10 or down to a top 5 or down to crowning, you would see the contestants react, and I can't imagine it was easy to be on camera with no audience and really not the excitement of being at the live event and hearing your top 10 and going, oh my gosh, this is so great, like I made a top 10, and you could tell that that was a little bit awkward, so maybe they could have something in the future to make the announcements a little more authentic and in that moment. But that was sort of funny to see. It's something just totally new for pageants. The top 5 were asked, what quality should a leader have during a pandemic? And our top 5 were Eliza, Patricia, Roxanne, Gianna, and Shane. Eliza said that she believed the leader should have communication skills. I thought it was a solid answer. Patricia said that they should have empathy. She did well. I liked that she was smiling while she spoke. That was really nice. Roxanne was the only one that I heard connect her platform, or for, in this case, her advocacy. She connected her advocacy to her answer, and I think that that was that defining moment for her that really clinched it for her, because she did really well throughout the whole competition. Overall, for me, still the winner. But what really, I think, sent her over the top is that she said that a leader during a pandemic should have a green thumb, and she talked about the importance of urban farming and agriculture, which is her advocacy, so it made a lot of sense. That's something to learn from, ladies. Gianna and Shane both said that compassion was the answer and having understanding, and I think that they both spoke really, really well. Gianna was a little bit more serious in her facial expression, so I liked that Shane was a little bit more pleasant in hers, in contrast to that. One thing I really missed about virtual pageants are the really big farewells that we see for the outgoing queens and giving them things like bouquets, and I love that part, and I love celebrating them truly on stage, so that's something that I'm certainly going to miss if we see more virtual pageants, and I think maybe something that they could adjust in the future. And then the crowning happened like this. So if you're not familiar with Miss Earth, they don't just crown the winner, but they also crown elemental queens. So our, for lack of a better word, fourth runner-up, although they don't actually say that they're runners-up because everybody gets a title, but still the last title is the one that you really want, right? The Miss Earth one. So Eliza was ecotourism, Shane was awarded with fire, Gianna was awarded with water, Patricia was air, and Roxanne was Miss Philippines Earth. And typically your advocacy is paired with the title that you receive. So that's how those things are sort of decided. Last thing I liked is that they showed people cheering for the contestants virtually. So I thought that was just really sweet, just a nice reminder of all the support that these contestants have, regardless of the format of the pageant. Overall, I'm really excited that hopefully Miss Roxanne is going to be competing in a real life pageant for Miss Earth, and I think she's going to be fabulous. I think they're really going to prepare her well for this. And I thought that even though it's not an ideal situation, that they still did a fabulous job throughout this whole show. The production company did a great job coordinating it, and I know that it really wasn't easy, and it's tough. So well done. What did you guys think of the show? Honestly, I really enjoyed it just because the whole time I was watching wondering, what are they gonna do? What did you think? Be sure to leave your comments in the comment section below, and also don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications, and follow me on social media so we can connect there too. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you come back for lots more.